Anybody else have anything? What do you think? Oh, go ahead.
Hey, just a question. You guys toured with a lot of people. Who was your funnest people that you guys toured with? Yeah, other bands. Oh.
We toured with a lot of people, and they were all wonderful people. We learned things from each one of them. I think Phil Kagi was really a gas one time.
You asking me? Man. There's a lot of bands, buddy. Newsboys? Well, they went through so many different versions. All right. Yeah, still good. Yeah, I can tell you some stories. I think probably the most interesting tour was when we did the first one, back to the street tour, where DeGroff and Key and us, the band members, went in the same bus, and then the crew members went in their bus. And we got to know those guys really well. And it was my first bona fide Christian tour. All before that, I was in a secular tour, and it was really different. So it was a real cool experience for me there, because it just helped me learn how Christian music was done. The Newsboys, for instance, first time we played with them was in Australia, and they stunk. They were the most terrible band I'd ever heard, but they were persistent, and I just was proud of them, man. They came over here and they would not give up, and they would do this, and they were persistent, and they were going to do it, and the talent started coming out, and then they started changing musicians, and it just got better, and then now they're major dudes, and I wouldn't say they were fun. They're very competitive. They were weird. I mean, you never knew what they were going to do. Which always worried me, because I was in the same I'm on the same tour, and we get accused of doing a lot of stuff anyway that we don't, and then they go and do it, and then we get accused for it. It's that kind of stuff. So just a lot of bands. I mean, guys, face it, I've been on the road one way or another in Christian music for 25 years, and it's been some amazing experience. I mean, in festivals, for instance, you're around 8 bands a day, and they're all great bands, good people, and most of them. There's some that aren't, and they're not around anymore. And if they are still around, they won't be for very much longer, because God will take care of it. But then there's some sweethearts that have been around forever, and they should be. One was mentioned, Phil Kagi. Oh, I hope he plays right until God takes him and lifts him up. He might be one of those guys. No, I know. It goes down, then comes up. But it's been a real joy. Yes, John.
Yes. Have you guys had like Michael W. Smith, White Heart, White Cross, Newsboys, all those major bands open up for you, including Audio Adrenaline?
Jonathan, say that one more time, just a little louder.
Did you guys have any bands such as White Heart, White Cross, Michael W. Smith, Newsboys, and so forth? All those bands open up for you?
Uh-huh.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the ones you named have.
Wow.
One time or another. Even Michael. And wow, isn't that cool? It's just shows you as you all know, you've been, you're here at the 40th anniversary. You guys have probably been with us probably longer than most folks. So you've seen it. Of course, you can't, John, because you weren't even born then. So.
I remember when I first seen you used to wear the tuxedo jackets, the long tails. You still have those?
No, darn it. My wife made me give it away. She lifts me up when I feel till she takes my coat away. No, I like those. Those are cool. What?
They did have some interesting stuff on display in
Yeah. Oh wait, yeah. That was Eddie's, buddy. That was a different ball game. I did realize after going there that I must have been pretty skinny at one time. It's nice to see that I could get in that sleeve called a pair of pants. So, it's amazing, guys. But the one common denominator was Jesus Christ and watching how he works. That's why John said, man, I can't believe it's 40 years. I can't either. I mean, 40 years? The last 25 with ministry for me has been like, I started yesterday. It just happened to be 25 years long. Because I can remember the phone call that Bob made. I can remember so many different things. I can remember the guy, we're talking about the Doubting Thomases, and Garland Keith. We, especially this tour, we were going and we were doing afternoon meetings with youth pastors and pastors, anyone that was interested, to see if we were as evil as everyone thought we were. So we would go there and we'd invite all the pastors, we'd have food for them, because that was always usually a good trick.
Yeah.
And so there's one place where we really shared our hearts. Bob shared me and Eddie DeGarmo, and I mean, really tried to give them the honest vision of what we saw, what's been done, invite them to come and be counselors at the church. And this one guy sitting back with his arm across, you could just tell the whole time, it must have gone for an hour and a half, the whole time he's across it, he's just waiting to find that right time to let his opinion be known. And he did it. Perfect time. It was just before the meeting stopped. Everybody had their food and all this, and you felt, well, maybe some ice was broken here, and someone will come and help be counselors, and we can get, and this divide and conquer can be licked. And he goes, well, you know what? I didn't need rock music to get saved. I don't know why anybody else does now either. And he stomps up and walks off. And I looked at Bob, and he goes, don't let your heart be hardened, buddy. We go through this every day, because I was this close to running after saying, you jack! How dare you sit through the... There's a lot of things that I wish I'd said at that time that would have been more godly. Instead, I just was quiet, and I was just... And Bob goes, don't let your heart be hard, but we've gone through this. This is one of the things you have to learn. And it was so funny. But I remember thinking later, I see, the whole world's about you. So because it didn't take rock music to get you saved, it shouldn't exist. I said, okay, because the whole world should function exactly the way you function. It doesn't matter that all of us are individuals. We all have different ways of being reached. But thank you for your input. I wish I'd said that.
I've never seen that tour.
Did? Yeah, it was a good
That
tour.
was a good tour.
It was a good, but hey, Petra's been part of many fantastic tours. I mean, with the artists that Jonathan was saying back there, every one of those great artists, they all had their peaks and valleys and stuff. But again, the common denominator back then was Jesus Christ. The altar call, absolutely. Oh my gosh, see, that's something that's forgotten. There came a time when people would ask you not to do an altar call because they were afraid you wouldn't say it exactly the way their church wanted you to say it. Guys, give me a break. I mean, you're going, then why are we here? Oh, because the kids wanted you, and we're hoping it'll attract a lot of secular people. You lost the whole vision. The whole thing is, it's a night of Christ. The Spirit will be there. You don't just invite through music and what you're saying, and then don't give it a chance to finish. Oh no, we don't, because we don't want to irritate the world. You don't want. Okay, fine. And we're talking about good old days with the old days and stuff. And I want to see the good old days. If I'm allowed to do this tour here, it'll be the good old days again. And they'll accuse me of being a singing pastor, which I think is the most complimentary thing they can say. Absolutely. It's what Christian music's about. Yes.
I was raised on Christian music, and of course I was raised on Petra. I'm not that old, but
God bless you.
but one thing, my grandparents are against rock and roll, they're against rap and hip hop, whatever. If it has beat to it, it's of the devil. And I've actually met Christian young people that have said the same thing because they go to the same type of churches, and that they only believe in Him. But one thing I've noticed with you guys, which I've only seen you guys twice, But one thing that I appreciate it is when you guys do concerts, you play your Christian music. Some things I have a hard time with the newer bands is they mix the secular music in with the religious music. I go to Christian concerts. It's about like almost church time, like between me and God. And I hate it when they mix secular with the Christian. So I do appreciate you guys keeping it real.
You know how you could lick that? Just don't go.
Right.
But the problem with that, if you don't go, then there's not many bands to go see right now.
That's why I'm very careful who I go see.
That's why I was answering that one question. Who do you support? I can't yet.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Guys, just keep praying. God used music back when we were doing. He allowed us to be part of it. Who's to say He's not doing it right now? We just may not be seeing it the same way we saw it before. I don't know. I just know that God put it on our hearts to do it the way we're supposed to do it, and we have, and He has blessed us in amazing ways. And you guys are part of the example. I mean, we're totally blessed that you're here. You are part of what God put in our hearts, and now we share it together. Isn't that cool? And we're celebrating a ministry that we all have been affected by. Well, I love it. I love it. But thank you. Thank you, you puppy. Yes, Jonathan.
Yes. Since John, you're coming out with a new album and you're looking to tour, what about the three Petra guys right here? Have you thought of?
They're too old. No, first of all, this guy's got a full-time job.
Okay.
They all have full-time jobs. And I well, that would be bad. But see, notice all my solo stuff has been done without Petra stuff, without any Petra artist. And part of that was because I really respect the Petra ministry more than you guys can know. And when I did my solo thing, even back when I was still with Petra, I absolutely separated it from it and said, you know what? Petra's ministry is Petra's ministry, and I'm not going to interfere with it. But I have something to say myself, so I went to what I call a different camp. I went to a totally different set of musicians, and which were a great, a group of Christian musicians in Nashville that weren't part of the Petra camp. And I said, guys, I want to do this CD. Here's some songs. I went, great. Oh, yeah, we'd love to. Great. So I started out that way, Jonathan. I've always kept it that way. I would love to use the talent that I've discovered through Petra. But I've got to be careful with that. Now that the system has been, it's lasted for so long, it's maybe possible because, let's face it, in the 7 years I was sort of taking care of Petra while Bob was gone, I went through, everyone's, you got the revolving door of Petra. Yeah, it was, because of the way it was set up. So I've gone through a lot of different great musicians that I wouldn't mind coming back to. But as far as using these guys here, ain't no way. They couldn't put up with me.
That's it. That's what we had time for. Daniel, do you have a question?
Just a quick one. It's actually my wife's question. She wanted to know if the original Petra ever toured outside the United States, 50 states, or 42 states if you're an Obama supporter. 51.
They did Canada.
We get together about once a year and play three times, and then I'll go back home. We don't really play anymore.
No, like the original
We're the original Petra group, us three guys. We just play about once a year. And Bill lives in Florida, and I'm a doctor in Fort Wayne, and John works in Warsaw, and he was a journalist for a while. So we don't really play professionally anymore, other than we minister at our churches.
He meant before.
What about the 70s?
We did Canada and Mexico. That's as far as we got.
That's what we had time for. Let's thank these guys for sharing with us. I was in here during sound check and got to hear the original three. They're going to melt your ears. Get ready. Thanks again, guys.